We just finished a council meeting, and I wanted to give you a brief update because this one was a big one. We were discussing additional rules to limit the spread of coronavirus, and in particular doing three things. One, making businesses responsible for mask wearing and maintaining the 5 commitments inside of their businesses, as opposed to simply letting patrons be responsible for achieving them. That resulted from conflict between business owner and patron, people refusing to do so, and wanting to give businesses the ammunition, the backing of the city, to enforce those things for everybody's benefit, as well as creating the accountability for business owners who are very limited, who did not want to do those things, to live up to them. Secondly, we created some authority to back that up, which looks like the city being able to suspend a business license or a liquor license for up to 15 days for those who are out of compliance. Now, we will educate first, but for those who refuse to follow the rules, these are the teeth that let us keep community safe. The third is a curfew for businesses, which would have all businesses close at midnight rather than at 2 or indefinitely for some businesses. Now, I approached this fully on board with 1 and 2, but not aligned on the curfew. And the reason for that was simple. A curfew was a blanket tool that would have all businesses close when only a small fraction of a certain type of business actually stood to cause harm by not living up to the 5 commitments and thus increasing spread. And I felt as though in an environment where businesses are already struggling, where jobs are being lost, where incomes are down, we should not be adding another burden to those individuals if it does not in any way help the public health scenario. And the way we measure that is we look at number of cases, increased risk, and then compare that to how is our healthcare system doing. And it was a lively conversation. In fact, I think it was probably the best representation of the type of discussion that I believe we have the responsibility at City Council to have, which is to be open, clear, transparent, honest, and in integrity. To not agree on things just to agree, to not disagree to disagree, but to be willing to step into the conversation and pick apart and look for evidence to find the optimum solution, respecting opposing positions and recognizing that the position in which I or others entered with might not be the correct one. And what we were able to do was get to a position where none of us thought the answers were perfect. I did not either. But where we were able to, I think on balance, make bold decisions to protect public health while limiting some of the known negative impact on businesses. And the way we did that was by limiting the curfew for businesses to only retail, restaurants, and bars, not to include room service in hotels. It's not as far as I wanted to go. I was hoping food delivery could also be part of that, or that there would be an appeals process so that restaurants, bars, and retail who could demonstrate that they were clearly following the 5 commitments, i.e. not adding to the health crisis, could remain open. But I recognize the other parts of this are so significantly important and good on the enforcement side that I was willing to accept that. Additionally, I was hoping for a 1-month duration, because in my mind, a shorter duration allows us to adapt more quickly to changing information and strengthening, not weakening, our public health response. Others wanted to go as far as indefinitely, and we settled on a September date, so through the summer. Again, not perfect, but it doesn't inhibit us from changing it. I share these things not to suggest that my way was right and I want you to know what I thought about differently to correct the record. Rather, I'm sharing this with the opposite intention. The intention to bring forth a modeling of a conversation to arrive at an answer that was group identified through respectful and reflective listening, learning from individuals and experts, and being willing to compromise so that we can act in unity. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I know many of you will be upset that we didn't get 100% on one side or 100% on the other. They'll characterize compromise as caving, and to that I say, no. This is how we arrive at things. No one person has all the answers. No one person is right all the time. To suggest that we are is to not understand reality or human nature, and we need to have the humility to understand to collectively, in celebration of our diversity of opinion and background, we arrive at the best result, and that we may individually be wrong, and that we are part of, responsible for, culpable for, and in responsibility for one another as a community. And that's how we got here. So I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you all. This ain't easy. This is a hard time. And as we've been saying from the beginning, we are in this together, however imperfectly, and we will emerge out the other side. So thank you to you. Thank you to our law enforcement. Thank you to staff. Thank you to our city council. Thank you to the hospital and the county that helped inform these decisions. I appreciate you, and everyone have a good evening, because this video is getting dark. Cheers.